everyone. Welcome to the Wedding Honey Podcast, the podcast where we chat about weddings with a little bit of sweetness, because we all know weddings can be stressful. We're here to lighten that up. Follow along if you'd like to hear journeys about wedding photography, wedding photographers, and of course, the wedding day. We're also going to be interviewing wedding specialists, and we can't wait for you to follow along. The Wedding Honey Podcast is brought to you by Wedding Biz Kit, a photography business course created by Sounds Like Yellow Photography. After 4 years in university, knowing I wanted to start my own wedding photography business, I had no clue how to write a proper invoice or even professionally run my business. I dug deep and curated a brand that is creative just as much as it is professional. Now, 8 years in of running my own successful business, I am proud to say I have the course for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wedding Honey Podcast. We are so jazzed. We almost had someone singing us in, which would have been pretty amazing, but we decided to go for like the normal lame entrance. So we're so excited because we have another amazing guest. I tell you, I'm just the luckiest. The most incredible thing about this guest, other than the amazing work that she does, is that casually last night, almost midnight, we planned this. So
we sure did.
Talk about hustling. So Rita of Mint, Lavender, and Lace is here.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We, full disclosure, we definitely had a little powwow. And it was great to catch up with Rita and chat about her life and just things since the wedding show. So Rita and I do the Hamilton wedding show together, and it's nice to catch up after that.
Yeah, it was nice because we got to be booth neighbors.
We did, and it's so cool how being booth neighbors really does connect you because you're like, I want to keep working with that person.
Yeah, and it was really like when we got to the show and I saw that like your table was next to my booth and I was like, oh, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You just know it.
Exactly. And it's nice when or if you've heard of that person's company, it's like, oh, yes. And we've seen each other. We've been across the hall from each other
we have been.
In previous years. But this year we were little booth buddies.
It was nice.
It was really nice.
Had each other's backs.
Yeah, it was really nice. So we did have a little powwow. So we were just already laughing, having a good time. But we thought might as well do this podcast thing.
Why not?
Yeah,
we're here.
We planned it. So might as well. So thank you again, Rita, for just hustling and being like, I love what you're doing. Let's collab.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so great to hear that because sometimes I do these and I'm like, I hope people are listening.
It's so unique, though. No, it's really nice.
I'm really glad. And when I heard that from you, I was like, yes. And then casually, she probably worked till like 1 a.m. last night. And she's here. No coffee. No, she probably had one on her way here.
Definitely. At home. Espresso.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'll make you one after too.
Ooh, I love it.
So we're so excited to have Rita because we are going to chat about some really fun things. We're going to hear about kind of your journey with wedding invitations, wedding suites. Yeah. Now, what is it you call your actual business? It's Fine Invitations and Wedding Stationery. I love that.
It's not all just, like I do other stationery, like a lot of like the day of stationery, but also like birthdays and different events too. But yeah, the bulk of it, is wedding stationery.
Yeah. So. Bread and butter.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you probably enjoy doing those maybe a little more.
Yeah.
A little more special.
Yeah, totally.
So Fine Invitations and Wedding Stationery, we are definitely going to hear a lot about that, which I'm excited about. And we're going to talk about pricing because that's a topic that everyone knows or maybe doesn't know.
And everybody's curious about it.
Totally.
Like at the bottom line, like sometimes it's always something that people want to ask. And sometimes you get the people who like ask right off the bat and they're like, I'm going to be honest.
Yep.
What's the price point for here?
Yeah.
But then you get people who are asking kind of like deflecting questions and they're totally just
like
trying to
shy
get there
behind the number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the end they'll be like, oh, by the way, what is the price point for this? Right? Like,
and you're like, oh boy,
just ask.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
it's okay.
Actually such a good point. I was thinking about this last night too, was how afraid we are of that word pricing or that word budget.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be so afraid of it. It's really, there's so much power in the fact of this is how much I charge and this is how much I'm worth.
Yes.
But also on the flip side, like this is how much for those couples, this is how much my budget is. Yeah. Let's see what we can work let's see how we can work together on that budget. So I'm really trying to break down those barriers for those the scary words.
Yeah,
So
it can be. It's intimidating, right?
It really is.
And lately I feel either people are having like a really small wedding or they're having that really big wedding.
Ginormous.
I don't think that there's an in-between anymore.
No.
At least if there is, I'm not seeing a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I find people either need like,
10 invites.
Okay, not that small. People do need that sometimes.
This is true.
But I find I either get like, like the 75 to like 90 invitations,
Right.
or I need like 300 or 400. Like it's been crazy,
300 or
right?
400.
Yeah.
Oof, I've only done a few of those.
Yeah.
But that is a lot.
And that's invitation, so like double the people.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
So the thing is, it doesn't sound so intimidating and it doesn't seem like such a high number when you have like 50 or 60 wedding invitations,
Right.
But even if it's a really good price and, I can even offer bulk discounts when it gets up to like 300 invitations.
Oof.
Because it's such an enormous number needed, that number adds up so quickly.
Oh gosh.
And
yeah.
it just like, it gets really fast.
Yeah, really fast.
Yeah, like, whereas, it doesn't sound like, oh, like $650 an invitation, like for
Right.
the whole suite, like that's even lower than what I would say is like a pretty like standard price.
Okay. Good to know.
Depends on like what, invitation suite you're looking for. But when you need 300 invitations at $650 or $6.50, it's almost $2,000.
Wow.
Right?
And then think about everything else that you still
exactly
want to get created for the day. So it does definitely add up, but that's where it's like, it's nice. I thought it was great when I checked out Rita's website that you'll all be linked to because it's also beautiful and drool worthy. There's pricing, and I think that's so great that we can actually just proudly say, this is what I charge. And I love that. So I thought
nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide. I love that.
I even tell people when I send out, like, either when I send out pricing, like in an email, or when the clients come to the wedding shows, right? Like, again, my price lists are on display.
Yeah.
I'm happy, if you've got like a specific budget in mind, I'm happy to do my best and work with you.
Yes, do my best.
But there's going to be no surprises. Like, this is the price. It includes A, B, and C.
Right.
And it is what it is.
Yeah. And you have to be upfront because it's better to be that way than let's meet, let's chat.
Yeah. I don't want to waste anybody's time. If you
No.
know right off the bat that you can't spend anywhere even remotely close,
Right.
and I'm okay with that.
Of
I
course.
understand, it's not going to be the right solution for everybody. But if it fits in somewhere within your budget, or we can work a little bit together and make it work, at least
Let's do
that was time well spent.
Exactly. Amazing. I'm so excited. We'll dive into pricing, but first I just want to hear about your journey within the wedding industry and stationery and maybe how you dove in.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it all started with my cousin.
Okay.
Her name's Maria, and she's the one who works the booths with me
hi, Maria.
most often. And she's definitely like my biggest supporter. She's my biggest fan.
That's the best.
She's awesome.
Family is everything.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were always really close, like growing up. So
Good.
it's been really nice to have her like in my corner with
Yeah.
me. So it started with her.
Mm-hmm.
She was into doing like stamping and making like handmade cards.
Cool.
And back then she used to host these Stampin' Up parties, they were called. That was
my
the company
gosh.
that we would like
really
order
cute.
supplies from. And it was really cool, right? It was just neat to like see all the different ways of doing things.
How long ago was that?
2011 probably.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Just a few years.
And then she saw how much I enjoyed it. So she was like, here, like take a few stamp kits, play around with them at home.
awesome.
And then I would go to work and just like think about like going home and making
Playing with
cards,
your stamps.
right?
So
Like,
cute.
so yeah. Poor people at the bank. I was selling mortgages but really thinking about cards.
You're like, oh, this is a big decision in your life, but I'm just going to think about a thank you card right now.
Exactly. Pretty much. So that's what we used to do.
Cool.
So she kind of got me started in that. And then when I got engaged myself, I started looking around, to make a little engagement party invitation, and I didn't really, it's overwhelming.
Oh, very.
You see what you want, but you don't know where to order it from. And I had no idea about anything in the industry.
Right.
Except for Stampin' Up.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously.
So then I just started making them.
Wow.
And then from there, we did some more stuff together. And then it really like got serious when it was time for like my shower invitations.
Right.
And she helped me out, and we did everything with those. And
With Stampin' Up?
So Stampin' Up, like we
You
ordered.
did. You used that.
So we
That's
ordered,
incredible.
what we ordered from there was like this, my shower was like a Paris theme, you know, in
Cute.
2012, it was all the
It
rage.
was all the rage, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we ordered, it was like a little stamping kit with like different like Paris things. Obviously had like the Eiffel Tower, the fleur de lis.
Yeah.
And then we kind of went for like the look that I wanted that we created, and it took all day, and we sat there embossing, like hand embossing. She had this tool called the Cuddle Bug.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we
how
literally
cute is
like,
this?
you would put the paper inside this like die and then like roll it through manually to create this embossing
Wow.
thing.
How many of those did you do?
I think about 100.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You have carpal tunnel now because of that.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, it was a whole day of like, you know, cutting and tearing paper and putting in
Wow.
like these little like eyelets, I think they were called.
So funny.
And they were so pretty, but even back then, I think we just had them printed at like Staples, and then
Yeah.
we cut them, you know.
Makes sense.
Nobody knew what we were doing.
No.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
everything was kind of like by hand, and then we stamped stuff.
Cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't allowed to make my own wedding invitations.
Right.
You know, due to
We heard
stress
from-
factor.
Yep. Yep. We were told.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then from there, it just kept going.
Wow.
And, you know, a referral here and
Biggest
a
part.
little word of mouth there.
Yeah.
And, you know, some years I was still working full time at the time, right? So I would do like 3 or 4 like events a year, like a wedding or like something like that, like a birthday party. And I'd be like, whew, busy year. I had 4 events this year, right? And like fast
Amazing.
forward now, and it's just Yeah.
A little bit more.
little
little bit
different.
busier.
Yeah, just a tad.
But that's amazing. So it started basically just kind of word of mouth, like on its own.
Yeah.
That's the best
Yeah.
way to go.
Yeah. And then, you know, somebody would post on Facebook, hey, looking for invitations for this. And next thing you know, I was responding. And, you know, even to this day, though, I still have a consultation. And when I get the, you know, you hear the doorbell ring, somebody's there, you get the flutters,
Of
like the
course.
butterflies.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
It's cute.
It's so cute. And it's nice to know that you started from a really like naive
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
And it-
absolutely.
Like to show you those and then come all the way to what we were just looking at on your
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Sometimes
really
like I still
cool.
look back at like some of my old stuff because I have them.
Yeah.
And kind of your first impression, like looking back,
Yeah.
I almost want to cringe and be like, oh my God, people paid for this. But at the time,
was
I was so
perfect.
proud, and I still
As
am
you should
proud
be.
because that's where I came from.
Totally.
And, you know,
Even-
I've learned and taught myself so many things along the way and
Yeah.
taken some courses here and there just to learn like
That's
new
awesome.
techniques. But yeah, to look back at like how far I've come, like back in the day, I was like making my own pockets.
Right.
Like,
oh my
and-
gosh.
And cutting
couldn't
and
imagine.
scoring
Yeah.
and taping. And now it's just like, I feel spoiled that somebody else does my cutting for
Yeah.
me.
But that's cool that it shows also a major amount of growth.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Which
Yeah.
is really cool. And I mean, everyone kind of, I mean, I look back on photos and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
what happened? But it, again, it fit
But-
the time.
Yeah. And you were proud of it
Of
back
course,
then, right?
yeah, or else I
So,
wouldn't have delivered it to the
Exactly.
client just as, yeah. So it's nice to see that growth.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So then in terms of the wedding industry, is that kind of where you were then when you did start, was wedding invitations?
I did a few wedding
Everything.
invitations for sure, some birthdays here and there, but it was more wedding and then like bridal showers, little
Oh, of
things like
course,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you start getting like the accompanying stationery, and
Wow.
kind of just grew from there.
It's perfect. Again, referral based
Yeah.
is ideal. So then when you started, how did you go about pricing? So you basically were doing
Just winging it.
Yeah, kind of, which is great. But how did you go to anybody? Did you have like a mentor that kind of helped, or was it all you?
It was all
you.
me.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was me. I would just kind of think about it and I wasn't, back then I wasn't pricing my time accordingly either, right?
Of course, in the beginning.
Yeah, of course. Like my dad would be like, make sure you're charging like for your time and you're taking that into consideration. I'd be like, oh yeah, for
Of course.
sure.
You're like, I am, Dad.
I definitely am, but I was
No.
not, right? Like, whereas like now it's like, oh, you really have to factor these things in.
You have to, yeah.
So yeah, I was definitely like winging it. And if somebody was like, well, this is what I can spend, I was like, okay, then that's what I can do it for.
Right.
Because, I wanted the experience. I
Right.
wanted the business.
Which
I
does
wanted
make
to dive
sense.
head on. So yeah, it wasn't great. I mean,
Totally, but I think it's better than just being like, oh, I'll just do it for free.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
you
yeah.
always knew that there was a price attached to the work that
Yes.
you were doing.
yes.
So in a small part, you were kind of factoring your time, but maybe not at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see when looking at your website, you've got your pricing there, and
Yes.
I love that, like I said, but to see like maybe, or for you to think like what you used to charge to now.
Yeah.
Because now you understand, like, okay, what actually goes into making
I understand truly
the
like
sweets.
what my time is worth and
Exactly.
how long it actually takes me. Like, whereas before I'd be like, oh, I don't know, I worked on it for a few days here and there. Whereas like now, even with seating charts, for example, for a day
Right.
of stationery, I charge what I charge because, there's different sizes, obviously. So to print them out onto like the foam core or either poster size,
Right.
they're different prices, but also the work attached to it, right? Like
Totally.
I allot anywhere from 4 to 6 hours for a seating chart.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's like a really long time.
For all those names and to make sure the formatting is like just
On point.
perfect.
Yep.
And, there's no room for error.
It's amazing.
Obviously. So it's different. And even the little things now too, right? Like before I would just like order a ton of paper, or maybe even at the very beginning, I don't even think I was ordering it
Wow.
from a supplier. I was just getting it at like Michael's or something, right?
Right. Because again, you were like, that's where I know where I can go get it.
Yeah, Michael's. There was another little scrapbooking store in Hamilton that
Cool.
I found this tape that I still use to this day,
Wow.
which is the best adhesive ever.
Amazing.
But they don't exist anymore, the store. So now I just order it off of Amazon.
Right.
But I'm so glad that I can still get it because it's awesome. And I wouldn't have
yeah.
found it if I didn't know about this little store.
See? So a perk.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just cool to see the evolution from like one thing to the next. But then I also have to factor in like, okay, for an order of 100 wedding invitations, it's likely going to take me about 3 rolls of this tape, right?
Right.
So you just kind of have to factor everything in, and that's the back end. And sometimes people don't see it, right? Most of the time
course.
people don't see it, right?
No, not at all. And did you ever have that time or that one day or whatever it may have been to say, okay, I'm going to write out how long everything takes? Like where was it that you did change that pricing? You thought, oh my gosh, why am I charging so low?
Yeah, it was probably after I did my first wedding show.
Okay.
It was the Ancaster wedding show, and I didn't like get any business out of
Wow.
it, which was okay. Like
Yep.
it was just a really good introductory show
For sure.
for me to see like what was happening and how the industry like really worked.
Right.
And that was in 2016 that I did that one. And after that, when I was working on other orders, I actually sat down and I was like, okay, it took me about an hour to tape all of the invitations. And now it's probably going to take me about another hour at least to assemble all the invitations. And totally depends on how many you have. And
Right.
some days you just work faster than others.
Totally.
Too, right? It's
yeah.
never
Or
gonna be
life
the
just
same.
pops up. Yep.
Yeah.
So you just kind of said, okay, now there's all this work going into this.
Yeah, so I
and raise
really
those
want to start
prices.
like focusing and understanding,
Mm-hmm.
how much it's costing me. And like I used to work with a couple different suppliers as well, with a Canadian and American one.
Cool.
And the American one was more expensive, obviously, especially with the exchange. But they would ship me my products like insanely quickly. It was either like next day or the day after,
Okay.
like 2 days later.
Wow.
Whereas the Canadian company was a lot more cost effective for me. It would say that my products were going to be arriving in 3 or 4 days, but they wouldn't come for 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
boy.
I was really stuck there,
Yeah.
right? If I was banking on that. So I had to kind of cut ties with them. And it was unfortunate. I'd love to support Canadian when possible,
Of
but
course.
man, my U.S. supplier's really good.
Yeah, so you can't, and that again comes into the pricing because
Yeah.
then you can say, okay, well, I can actually maybe make it a little bit more expensive, but you'll get it quicker.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely.
Which is important for a lot of people when you're working off a date.
And a lot of people, like, work with this supplier, they work with them as their own supplier as well. So they get a lot of feedback from their clients as well. And they're constantly like upgrading, and there's always new things that they're offering, which
So cool.
in turn allows me to offer these things, right? So I'm able to offer all these different services and different products for them.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus right there.
Totally.
So you kind of spoke to it there where you were at a wedding show. Did you ever find that there was like people in your stationary community that could help you with that, or not really, I guess?
I have actually found more of like, it goes both ways. You meet like other people and it's like, oh, these are really pretty.
Yeah.
Who are you ordering from?
Yeah.
Nobody, we kind of beat around the bush, but then it's like, oh, you're ordering these from so-and-so, aren't you? And it's like, because actually it was at the Ancaster wedding show that I met this other woman.
Yeah.
And she had a little stationery place. I think it was in Oakville or something.
Cute.
Yeah, it was like beautifully done. She had gorgeous things.
Nice.
And then I remember speaking to her and I was like, oh my God, where are you getting these laser ones from? They're stunning. They're the ones that have cutouts. They kind of look like lace or doilies or something.
Pretty.
And she was like, they come from Japan. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
whoa,
really fancy. So then I have a letterpress guy for letterpress invitations, and he's in Oakville too. So one day I was picking up a letterpress invitation order from him, and I was like, oh yeah, so-and-so. She had some on display at the show, and I was like, oh, do you work with Andy as well?
Yeah.
And then he just kind of brought it to my attention. He's like, they'll come from China, man. He's like, all those laser ones, she might say Japan. He's like, bullshit. They're coming from China. She just said Japan to make it sound a little fancier.
Maybe did she know that you were in stationery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She knew.
I thought maybe she was like, they're just from Japan.
No, she knew.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't
That's
like.
so funny.
I didn't think, I was just starting out, right?
Totally.
But then as we keep going and you meet new people and you meet different vendors, like I'll always introduce myself to the other vendors,
nice.
right? Because we're all working in the community together,
totally.
right?
There's enough brides and grooms to go around.
Oh my God, there is more than enough,
exactly.
right? And everybody has different styles, and one person's style just might fit in well with a different bride or groom, right? And that's a-okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But there's also been times where like other stationers have come to me and we all go see each other's booth. Like there's no denying it.
Every vendor does that.
Yeah.
If it's the same, you have to go visit them.
You do the walk around.
Yeah.
You're
like, ooh, that's nice. That's nice.
But there's this other company, and they've come to see me, and then they've reached out for help, and they're such nice girls, right?
I love
and they're
that.
like, hey, sorry to bother you.
You should be doing that.
But and I'm like, honestly, you're not bothering me, and I'm happy. Like this is the print shop I use, and like. You're more than welcome to go. Like, why wouldn't you?
And it's nice, too, to even reach out and help them because then, if you have a question, they'll help you.
I can go right back, right? So it's worked really well for the both of us. They're really nice girls.
That's so cool.
And like there's been a ton, and it's been to the point when I was doing laser cut invitations and they weren't offering it, they've referred people my way.
That's so nice.
So that was so nice of them,
really
right?
Sweet.
Like I really appreciate that more than anything.
Yeah. Again, that community really does.
It makes such, it warms the soul a little bit.
Like, it really does. Yeah. I appreciate it.
It's nice to see that. So yeah, we've helped each other.
That's cool.
And,
but back to pricing, it was basically always just you saying, okay, this is what needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with you putting your prices on your website, do you find, so we both actually said that we used to not have our prices on our website, and now we do, and it bothers us when we go to websites and you're like, why don't you just put your prices on here?
I want to know. What are you hiding?
Yeah, why can't I see?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of power in that for sure, to put it on there. And I think, do you agree that people reach out when they actually just know your pricing? Quicker than when they didn't know it.
Yeah, because sometimes it is not inconvenient, but it takes a little time, and at least when it's on the website, like it's there for you in plain English. Yep. Like it's all there.
You shouldn't be expecting a surprise when I tell you the price later.
Yeah, it's all there. It's right in front of you.
Yep.
There's no our policies are there, but it's not like there's fine print or plus taxes.
Right.
It's there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's smart. It's so nice. And it also is kind of a cool feeling for us too of gotten to that point where we're like, let's just put it up.
Yeah, I'm
have
comfortable
to.
with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's there. And again, people, sometimes they say like it's standard pricing. Again, if it's going to be like a bulk order where if I'm able to get like some sort of like wholesale discount because you're ordering so many,
Right.
if I can get a discount from my supplier, then I'm happy to offer that discount
Totally.
to my clients as well, right?
Right.
So that's always kind of a nice happy surprise when somebody,
Totally.
you know, you do go back and it's different pricing.
Right.
So that's really nice. But other than that, yeah, it's there and
Happy for people to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's the way it kind of should be. It's also a little bit nicer. The couple will reach out saying, oh, can you do this, this, and this? And they know exactly what's to be expected.
Yeah.
And you are too. It's like kind of uncovering this like hidden secret.
Yeah.
You know, so you can work together without this like a big elephant in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, it's good. This is the price. We're good.
And I know people like back in the day, like even when I was getting married, like shimmer finish paper was more expensive than like matte finish paper, right? So I think like that kind of stuck from a little while ago too, because people will come and see me and they'll be like, I can pick from any of these colors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, there's
All the same.
there's certain finishes that are now a little
Makes
more
sense.
pricey, but I mean, for the most part, all the standard stuff is just the same price.
Right. Which is, again, a great thing that you can just say to people and know, like, yep, everything's the same.
Yep.
Yeah. And be upfront.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also very important when it comes to pricing. So,
That's how I roll.
yeah, I like that. I like that. So, so you do wedding suites, and I kind of wanted to know your take on save the dates.
I love save the dates.
Okay,
I
cool.
think save the dates are great.
Me too.
Sometimes they're not an option for people.
True.
If they are having like a really, you know, short engagement.
Yes.
So sometimes they just don't work for you.
Right.
But I think they're a great idea. If you
Yeah.
are like having a longer engagement, why not send them?
Yeah.
And you could do
Easy.
so much with save the dates
Totally.
too, right? You could do different sizes and they don't have to match. Like some people will be like, oh, I don't really know what my colors are going to be yet. And I'm like, that's okay.
fine.
Like you could do whatever you want with them. They could be a simple or they can get a little more fancy. They can be
Yeah.
colorful. They can be plain. But I love save the dates.
I do too. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And I mean, this is maybe an obvious question, but do you prefer printed over digital?
What do you mean?
Okay, so I've seen, I don't know if this is a trend of people just doing like online save the dates or
Oh.
even online
Oh,
invitations.
no.
Do you not like those?
No.
Okay.
No,
Good.
not my style.
Good. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something to getting your invitation in the
In
mail.
the mail. I know it's old school, but
I'm
it's,
such a snail mail like lover.
I know.
Ugh.
You know, it's nice. You're getting, what do we get in the mail?
Bills.
Like bills, right?
Literally.
All the time. So I've even had sometimes people be like, oh, I'm looking at like a long, thin invitation. And I'm like, that's going to come in the same size envelope. Like
a
people are going to
bill.
think it's a bill.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Do something fun.
so, but you see like a different color envelope or you see
Yes.
something with like gorgeous details and the
Or
envelope printing
calligraphy or-
done.
yes.
Oh my God. And it just makes all the difference.
It does.
Right?
It's the first. I guarantee if you get an invitation in your mail and it's like a different color, you will open it first.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did the same when we were chatting. We were like, ugh, no, we can't do online. Can't do digital.
No.
Let's do actual printed.
Yeah.
And yes, it does cost a lot more, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how special is it? Like we still have some of our friends' invitations on our fridge.
Yeah.
Because they're so beautiful.
Yeah,
We can't throw
absolutely.
them out.
So, yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like, even just how you feel. Like, I don't know, sometimes emails get lost.
Totally.
Sometimes they go into a spam folder.
For the most
I
part.
get that sometimes mail gets lost too.
Right. But
But
less common.
chances are, you know, like
Yeah.
you're going to receive something nice in the mail. And then you get to see like a beautiful piece of stationery, right? Like,
know.
what's it going to look like? Like, I know when we're getting invited to weddings, if I haven't made the invitation, I'm excited
so excited.
to see like what's coming. And
And it's cool to see, like, okay, this is kind of you're starting to show the feel of their wedding.
it's the first impression
First
that people
impression.
have of your wedding, right? Like, that's going to set the tone for your whole entire thing.
So
People
true.
get an email, like, I don't know,
We get
what-
1,000 emails,
emails
a day.
Like, it's going to be, you know, I would think, okay, it's a wedding, you
Yep.
know. I got recently, like, I got a shower evite.
Yeah, Evites,
Right? And
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, you
Okay.
know. I'm like, I know it's going to be a beautiful shower because she's a beautiful girl. And,
Right.
you know, I've known them for a while and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. But, like, man, they really could have done better.
Right.
That's
or
what it felt
there's just like something so much more special.
Yeah.
About like, can I get your address? Like it's so
Yeah.
funny that we have to like ask for addresses.
Yep.
Whereas before, like I know my mom had an address book.
Yeah, totally.
And it was like,
yeah.
just go to the address book and write
Everything
it on.
is
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
But now we're getting away from that. So I definitely encourage couples to go for that.
too.
Okay, good. That's nice.
Yeah.
That'd be awful if you're like, I love them.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Oh my God.
I was writing it.
Here's
I was
your
like,
digital
obviously.
file. Just email it over. like which I do. I send digital samples to
for people to see.
to approve.
Of course.
Right? Like to look at for spelling.
Yes.
But like they're also still going to see this like physical hard copy before everything goes
Everyone
to print,
else.
right?
Yes.
So that they can see the whole thing put together. And actually it comes down to the style of invitation too for a lot of people. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I love the pocket style, like the pocket fold style.
Love that.
But they're like, oh, it's kind of heavy and kind of bulky, and people might not put this on their fridge, whereas like a flat style will just stay right on there.
Oh,
People
see?
think about that, and
Okay.
I hear it more and more frequently.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So people actually do want to put them on their fridge.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's just like a nice little memento. Yes, you get a favor from a wedding, but sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But it's also a little like pre-favor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
like-
know like people who keep them too, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people keep them.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little part of their. I like that you said first impression.
Yeah.
Because it really does set the tone. I know when we were doing ours, it was very important for both my husband and I to sit down and say, yeah, like, let's do an envelope.
Yeah.
Let's get we had our own printed return address
Yeah.
labels because I was like, I want it to look nice.
Yeah.
Like all parts of it.
I've had couples who get custom stamps.
I love
with
that.
their engagement photos.
I love
Oh yeah,
that.
I had a couple who did that,
That's
and
so cute.
it was awesome. Like, why not?
Just a little something. I guarantee people were like, oh, look at that little stamp. It's
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Just a little moment of, oh, that's sweet.
it's cute.
It's just kind to the people you're inviting too. Like you really care about those people.
Yeah, and another actual thing that's gone digital lately, I'm seeing more of it, are digital RSVPs.
Oh.
Yeah, as opposed to like having a response card. A
Interesting.
traditional response card, or yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
I
a
get
lot more
that.
people are setting up like wedding websites and
Yep.
like that I'm cool with, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That is what it is, but you
But
know.
it's nice to just, I mean, I loved getting the RSVPs in
Me
our
too.
mail. It was
Oh
so
my God,
fun.
it was so exciting to
Yeah.
actually go to the mail and see
Yeah.
who was responding today,
Totally.
right? And
I did really like that.
I like it too. I'm
Yeah.
still a sucker for traditional stuff like that.
Me
so.
too. Me too. I'll send you some mail, and you can send me
Okay.
some back.
In pretty envelopes.
Obviously.
Maybe I'll line them.
Yeah, she knows. I went through some of Rita's work, and I was like, the lined envelopes.
Yeah.
They're just life changing.
They're beautiful.
I'm such a I love paper. And
Me too.
Anything with texture.
Oh,
I
God,
love.
and there's so many different finishes.
Oh.
I know.
Oh my
No
gosh,
wonder why
we
my
could
hands
just-
are dry.
Yeah. You and I could just sit and chat about papers
All
probably
day.
all day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So, for some of the weddings that you've been a part of, do you have a favorite kind of wedding story or a wedding suite that you've done that you've just been really drawn to?
They're all special to me, like
Totally.
in their own way.
Of course.
Because each couple is unique, right?
Totally.
So yeah, there's just like
tough.
little things that make each wedding special, right? And I might love like one invitation. You know, usually when I'm designing for a wedding,
Mhm.
I will send a couple like 4 to 5 custom digital samples
Okay.
to proof, and then we kind of begin the revision process from there. I know I shouldn't play favorites, like, because there's things I love on all of them.
course, yeah.
But there's always usually one that happens to stand out. And I'm like, oh, I really
really
hope they
like
pick
that.
this one.
That
right?
makes sense too, because it's almost like you're sending them. I think everyone would do that. It's like when I send photos to a couple, I know my favorites.
Yeah.
So I think that's allowed. You're allowed to have
I
a
think
favorite.
so,
Yeah.
right?
Do they usually pick that one?
Sometimes they do, sometimes
They
they
don't.
don't, right?
Interesting.
But I never make it sample one either.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause
like,
you don't want them
I'll be like so-and-so option 1, so-and-so option 2. But I never make it like option 1, because if it's my favorite, like it's probably like speaking that it's my favorite.
Right.
So I don't want them to see like option 1 and then like feel
Be
like
like,
blah
obviously
about
this
the
is
rest
what's-
of them,
Right.
right? So I kind of usually will like throw
like,
it somewhere
spread
in the
'em out.
middle,
Yeah.
like 3 or 4, so that just when they think they're getting to the end, they're wow.
I like
right?
that. Hey, it's still another tactic to brighten someone's day.
Yeah.
You're like, wait till you see the last one.
I know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm working with this couple right now, and she was really undecided about 2 of them. She's like, I can tell you like this one more. And I was like, it's not that I liked it more. I just felt it went better with like the other paper colors that she had selected.
Smart.
But she ended up going with the other one, and that's okay.
That's totally okay. It obviously spoke to her.
To her, yeah. And as long as like she's happy, then
that's all that
you know
matters.
At the end of the day, she's still gonna have a beautiful custom invitation suite, right?
Exactly. And I'm sure out of those 2, they were both magnificent. So
they both, she loved things about both of them, right? Like they're planning an August wedding, and she was like, I love this one, I really do. I just felt the florals were a little like too dark and moody. If it was like October, then so we just went for the softer one.
Perfect.
That's all.
You're like, yeah,
no problem.
Makes sense. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so you have a favorite when you send them off.
Yeah.
As you should.
But I mean, all the couples are so different, and there's, it's just nice to be able to meet all these different people.
Hear their stories.
Yeah, how they met, and
love that. That's like the best part. Yeah.
There are some people, like, usually if I do the consultations out of my home.
Yeah.
So sometimes people will be over if I do it at like 8:30 at night, right? In the evening, like, they won't leave until 11, right? Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, they obviously feel comfortable, right?
We're chatting. We're having a good conversation.
And, like, you honestly just lose track of time.
Totally.
So
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So then when in the booking process would you say you should be contacting you? When are you booked?
I would say anywhere from about 8 months to a year before your wedding.
Okay. 8 months to a year. Okay.
Yeah. 6 months is like, hey, I had a couple who came to see me at the beginning of March. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're getting married June 1st. Can you help us?
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I have to put everything else on hold. Like,
but I will
you guys are my priority for the next week. Like, that's it.
You have to.
And that's awesome. But yeah, I would say, like, give me a good amount of time.
Yeah.
A year might be a little too far in advance sometimes.
Okay.
But if, you want to
save the date.
Save your date and just like get really on top of things and let me know what you like. And I mean, if I'm ordering something from Japan.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yeah. But some of the laser stuff does come from China. So it depends what time in the year you're ordering that stuff from anyways, because it takes a lot longer. It depends on the amount that you need. And in February every year for Chinese New Year, those factories shut down for 2 weeks.
See,
for
good thing you have to know that.
So sometimes if you miss that cutoff, you're stuck waiting until March, right, to get your stuff to you, right? So
and then that can be stressful.
Totally. It's stressful for me because every day the bride is checking in to see if anything has shown up yet.
Yeah.
And in turn, I feel like I'm disappointing them by saying no, but I also, don't have control over that.
You can't.
Right? So I don't but I don't want the brides to be stressing out either because they don't need stress on their wedding day. Like, there's going to be...
With the invites, you're like, I got this.
Yeah, there's enough for them to stress over. So even if, I happen to, like, notice something or... like a little change. Usually I'm able to like fix it before like they even tell me.
That's good.
So,
yeah.
A formatting
all the things that you've trained your eye to notice and say, oh, let's just get rid of that.
Yeah.
So that takes time too.
Yeah. Yeah.
To train your eye to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. But I'll always know. I'll be like, something's off here. What is it?
Let me look closer.
Yeah.
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 Amazing. Okay. So 8 to 10 months, 10 to...
I would say like 8 to 12. Like 8 to 12. 8's really reasonable.
Okay.
That gives me, sometimes I would say like if you're going to get all your stationery through me, if you need save the dates, if you need
shower
invitations, and then your wedding stuff, that's great because we'll meet early. I'll take down the details for everything.
Right.
And then we'll work with one as like the dates start getting closer.
Right.
So, but I mean, if you're just going to get like wedding and day of stationery, like 8 months is sufficient.
Perfect.
Yeah. And you can even
good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. Now, when you are creating these masterpieces, as they are to my eyes, what keeps you creative? What's like huge inspiration for you?
Everything. But especially I would say like we live in Canada. We get to
Yes.
experience like 4 distinctly different and beautiful seasons.
Big time.
So something I design in the summer or the spring is going to be different than what I design in like the fall or winter.
True.
You just pull inspiration from different things.
Yeah. Very well said.
I used to work in Burlington. On my lunch one day, like it was the cherry blossoms blooming, so I just went for a walk in Spencer Smith Park, and I was like, yeah, I need to incorporate cherry blossoms somewhere. I'm not sure where, but
it's gonna happen.
it has to be there.
That's really cool.
For little things like that. And what else? I mean, yeah, and it depends where the wedding is too, and what the couple, some couples will be like, I love florals, or hit me up with 5 floral samples, or some people will be like, no, like
geometric.
Yeah, like geometric lines. Like, or they're just have a floral aversion. They don't want to see anything.
Don't give me any of that.
Yeah. So
that's true.
Just kind of have to pull. And some invitations that I design are a little more modern, but some are more traditional. Yeah. And
do you listen to music or anything when you're designing? Like what kind of, do you have a process?
So more so when I'm assembling, like I keep like, like Friends on in the background, or Grey's Anatomy or something like that. But when I'm designing, there's this channel, it shows like the fireplace and like different like ambience.
Oh my gosh,
and they play like relaxing music.
Really nice, yeah.
And I used to keep it on actually a lot when my daughter was a baby, because in the afternoon, like she would just like fall asleep like in her little baby gym.
Yeah.
But like to the sound of like the waves crashing from the TV, and it was so relaxing, and I was able like to teach myself a lot during those times when she would sleep. It's kind of
like meditation.
Yeah,
that's what
so
that sounds
I love having that channel on when I'm designing.
Love that.
I know it sounds so silly.
No,
but
that's the coolest. It's actually funny you say that, because it sounds like a lot of your inspiration comes from nature.
Yeah.
So to hear that you have music like that kind of calms your inside, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that. I sometimes struggle where I'll go on Spotify and I'll be like, what am I feeling right now? And sometimes just like wind or rain is also the like most calming. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I can sit and I can edit this session just because that's what I need.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really interesting.
Like obviously like I follow other pages on Instagram, and you get inspired, you see certain things, but I think
that's the biggest.
Yeah, I think Pinterest kind of ruined I
know. We've had a few talks about Pinterest on here.
Yeah.
It's a nemesis is the word that it's like so great. The amount of boards that I have is like unbearable. Yeah. But then I'm like, this is bad.
I feel sometimes it sets like unrealistic expectations.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was just speaking with Sam with Pocket of Posies, and we said they should come with an availability, like is this even available,
is this real,
also real life, and a price point, like here's how much all of this cost, because you think you can do it on a budget and you can't.
Or sometimes people will be like, so why are you charging $9 for a laser invitation suite when the link from Pinterest brought me to like, I don't know, some random website,
25 cents,
and they're charging like $1.25 plus shipping.
You're like, well,
like, oh,
order one and just see what it looks like. Like it's very hard to see that sometimes, as great as it is to be good inspiration. It's also, really bad.
Yeah, you want to be inspired, but that's not somewhere that I go, like,
I know, and I think it's funny because when I think of Pinterest when it first started, everyone felt, oh, it's so inspirational, it's so great to look and get inspired, but it's changed.
Yes, it has.
Really changed.
Like, I like it for, like, recipes and stuff, but not for much else.
No.
To be honest.
No, because even when I'm looking for, like, home things from it, I'm like, I can't afford for anything in that.
Yeah, that's probably not a reasonable
that's in LA.
Right
like, what? Or people will come to me, we want to recreate this image, and it's like shot on a beach in Southern California, and I'm like, me too. Do you guys want to go there? I would love to. So it's hard. Like, yes, like you said, we live in Canada.
Yeah,
we don't have the southern. See, I told you I'd stutter. So we don't have that Southern California vibe. But yes, it's good to know where you can use Pinterest, where you can get that creative, maybe little spark.
Yeah.
But not all the inspiration.
No, definitely not. I like, even just myself, like, it's nice when people are like, I'm open, like, send me whatever you've got, right? Sometimes I find I struggle a little more if people are like, I want like 5 samples all with monograms. And I'm like, whoo.
It's a lot.
That's a task.
Five different-
five completely different like monograms, right?
That's hard.
So it's tough, and
Yeah.
you know,
So you really gotta like
hunker
turn
down
up the
and
waves really loud.
yeah, to get everything
And just
going.
like calmly focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Nice to know where your inspiration is coming from. I'm going to put on waves when you leave because I have work to do.
It's great.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You inspired me.
See? So glad I could do that for you.
Me too. Me too. So our one last question that I love asking any of the creatives that come on, what are some of your predictions for trends for 2020?
I think I'm seeing different things. Like there's always, you know, people are going to be like, hey, I love the pocket style, or hey, I had my heart set on this. But I think I'm just seeing like a return to simple and classic.
It's so interesting you say that because I can probably feel that. And I think a lot of the entrepreneurs that have been on have said, we're going back to classy.
Yeah.
Classic, simple.
That's it. We went through, you know, rustic chic, had its phase, and
Blush.
Oh my God. You took the word out of my mouth.
Every time I see blush now, I think of weddings.
Yeah.
Like I don't think of, a rose.
No, not anymore, right? Like
Weddings.
blush, but like now, like people are just like getting back to basics.
Yeah.
And like for the last couple of years when somebody did color, I was like, really, we're gonna play with color. I love this, right? You
it's
know,
the best. I love that too.
But yeah, people are just getting back down to basics,
like black and white. Do you mean, or
more
just
like flat card
okay,
style?
I see. In terms of style, okay.
We're getting rid of, you know, like ribbon kind of has really had its
Played
moment.
out.
Like
Okay.
ribbon, twine, and like I'm not seeing any of that. Wax
Really?
seals are really popular, but again, that's an old tradition, right?
It is.
So I think we're
That
getting back
is.
to tradition. And that's a nice, like really simple embellishment.
So true.
That really like packs a punch.
I love that.
But yeah, I think we're just like going back to basics.
I love that. I'm okay with that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So classy and timeless.
That's it. It's elegant.
Yeah.
It's elegant.
Are you finding a lot of clients saying that? I just want elegance.
I want clean and elegant. That's what I'm hearing a lot of, and I think it's going to continue.
Stick around. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I feel like when we first see it, then it comes and plays for like another year.
and it's funny to just see like from the different shows, right? Like each year, usually I do 2 shows. And it's funny to see like the January show, I always get to bring like, you know, the most recent year's weddings.
Right.
September, you get a lot of like that year's weddings.
Right, the new.
So you see like a lot of like the summer weddings. So the styles tend to be very different,
So
right?
true.
So, but the last couple of shows I've noticed there's been a lot more like plain plain invitations, and people are drawn to them and they're like, this is gorgeous. There's
love it.
not much to it. Like there's no,
Clean.
you know, embellishments
Right.
or anything,
Yeah.
but it's gorgeous.
You're like,
and
yep, we can do
It
that.
is what it is. Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. I think like the wedding industry maybe needs that a little bit.
Totally tailored to the bride and groom.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a reflection of like who they are and what their wedding is.
That's amazing. Yep. Good for
So-
you. Well, we're so happy that you came over and chatted
Yes,
with us.
I'm so excited.
This is so awesome. I can't wait till you hear it.
I know.
It's going to be so
That'll be
cool.
weird.
Well, we'll definitely have you on again because this has been
Thank you.
lovely. And I learned so much, as I always do. I feel like there's always something new that someone brings to these podcasts. And I'm like, wow, so cool. So I am excited to plan some 2020.
Yeah, me too. That'll
Simple, elegant. We'll do
Beautiful
something
things.
creative.
Yeah.
Something creative.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Rita.
be. Thank you, Gillian. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll have you on again.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.